Chris Tyson has gone from the beer drinking, shotgun blasting redneck to, well, honestly, I don't even know what this is. Now, if you don't know who Chris Tyson is, he's basically just a part of the Mr. Beast crew, and he is Jimmy's best friend. And that's what he's known for. He's known for being Jimmy's funny, badass friend. So, how in the fuck does someone who did this
The water gun. Yeah, there you go. 3, 2, 1, 2.
go to this? I actually just don't understand what the fuck happened to him. He went from being the manliest man on the crew to being the actual only woman. Like, is bro just achievement hunting at this point? I mean, seriously, he's like, oh, I have a rich friend that pays all my bills, so I'm gonna get married, have a kid, get divorced, and turn into a woman. Like, how the fuck does this man's life sound like the plot to a shitty TV show? And going back on that, he was married and has a kid. How can you, as a supposed sane person, completely uproot your life and possibly ruin your child's perception on gender just because you think you're not happy as a man? And that's just it. That's the whole reason that I decided to make this, is because the more I look into it, the more I realize that he isn't a sane person. He is acting nothing like how he is. He is insanely surrounded with just media, and I honestly I think it broke him. And the person that's leading him right into it is fucking Carl Jacobs. I mean, for real. It's like this motherfucker is strapped to some Dr. Doofenshmirtz creation. Bro's got the gayinator, because every single person who spends time around Carl either comes out as like bi or something, or starts acting a little fruity. Examples: Quackity hung around Carl, everyone thought he was gay. Sapnap, same thing. Dream, same thing. And I can see the argument that those are like really shit examples because all of them are like the inventors of woke. But to be fair, the whole Carl effect is kind of a new thing. We're still trying to find out what the fuck he does to turn all these people gay. But jokes aside, though I do think Carl was a big part of Chris doing this, I'm not going to put all the blame on him, because in reality, I just don't think Carl has that much of a grip on him. Chris used to be the type of dude to just nonchalantly drop the N-word back when you wouldn't be tortured for doing so. And not only that, him and Jimmy made a whole ass video blatantly making fun of trans people. So how the fuck does he end up like this? Honestly, I think that Chris's steady decline started with the root of all things cringe, wokeness. As Mr. Beast's channel got bigger and as years went on, things changed. I mean, you can no longer say the word retard in a video or even seem like you want to say the word retard, because if you do, you're on the Twitter chopping block within seconds. And with the whole Mr. Beast crew learning how to be woke for brand safety, that of course includes Chris. The way I see it, and the way that I think anyone who actually is a sane person sees it, is that he just took it way too far. He got way too into the wokeness thing, and with the help of Carl, he fucking scrambled his brain into the Pepto pink paste that is now there, and it's honestly just sad. And I know what you're thinking, oh, you're just transphobic, you're such an asshole. But that's honestly just not it at all. I don't care that he's trans. My problem isn't with the whole idea of him being trans. It's with the fact that the people around him and his fans and his family all fed into his delusions, because that's what they are. They are delusions. They fed into them so much that he uprooted his entire life, everything he has ever done, ripped a father figure away from his child just because the little internet demon said to. It's fucking crazy. Used to, if you accidentally got into the deep side of the internet, you came out scarred and depressed. Now you come out in either a fursuit or on hormone blockers. It's fucking ridiculous. I just don't get how we as a species just like spoon feed each other blatant lies about how life works and how general happiness works, and then still feel good about ourselves. In the long run, what he's doing is a bad thing. No matter which way you look at it, it's a bad thing. All it ends up with is Chris without a wife, the person that he gave a vow to, just gone, a child that has no idea what the difference between a man and a woman is, and in the small chance that the goop between his ears decides to work and he realizes that the character he's playing just isn't who he is, now he's a man stuck in like a man-woman or like a mixture thing. I don't even know what the fuck to call him, but he's just stuck like that. There's no way you slice it that it is a good thing. And going back to his son not understanding the difference between a man and a woman, I've heard arguments that that is a good thing and that kids should be able to pick and do whatever they want. But honestly, that is possibly the most retarded way of thinking I could possibly imagine. Children cannot consent. And so if they cannot consent, then they should not be able to make life-altering choices. And at the end of the day, there is a difference between men and women. It's fucking crazy that I even have to say that, but there is. And that should be educated and shown to a child so that the child can accurately depict what the fuck they're looking at. And let's say he does correctly educate his child on what genders are. What is he going to say that he is? Is he going to say he's a woman? Because, if he says he's a woman, I hate to be the one to remind you, Chris, you have a cock. It's there, I promise. Just look down. So what happens if one day your impressionable child just so happens to walk in on you like taking a piss? How do you explain that? I'm sure his image of women would already be all fucked up, and now you're throwing in a fucking anomaly of a woman having a cock. And if you explain to him that you're a man, now his entire image of what a man is would be completely out the window. I don't know about you, but nothing about this strikes me as your typical man. So if you, his father, look like this, he's gonna have the idea that that's what's normal. Like, I don't understand how the fuck that's excusable. It's just crazy, and I feel bad for him. And the problem of his child's well-being has been brought up to him before, and his defense for how his transformation isn't going to harm his kid is that his kid begs for him to come back when he's gone. Like, yeah, no shit. That doesn't prove anything. Saying your child enjoys your presence doesn't prove that you aren't harming his outlook on life. Like, yeah, he likes having you around. Maybe because he's fucking 2 and really only knows 2 people, you and the wife that you divorced to go become a woman. I'm sure if I only knew 2 people, I'd like you as well. I just don't see how that's a valid argument. You cannot argue for even a second that the choices Chris Tyson has made won't affect his child. And that's not all that he's affecting. Everyone around him is clearly uncomfortable. I mean, I guess except for like Gaylord, but everyone else is. I mean, I feel bad for Jimmy. He's clearly not comfortable with the whole situation, but he's stuck in a pickle. One side, he wants to help his friend get his life back together, but on the other side, if he says anything even slightly negative about Chris, Twitter chopping block. There's really no winning with this motherfucker. He gets dogged on for curing blindness, and like a month later, he got to deal with this shit. At the end of the day, this all just comes down to the Twitter zombies just wanting someone to hate. I think deep down, everyone sees the issue here and how Chris clearly needs help, but they love a witch hunt. So if anyone actually attempts to tell Chris he needs help, all of Twitter are going to jump on the motherfucker like a pack of piranhas. Also, one small point that I would like to go over. I think it's clear that I hate Twitter and I do not respect the people on that app. And I absolutely do not want to make this channel going over Twitter beef a normal thing. But I think in this context, I sort of have to just really get the point across that Chris is fucking off the rails. So basically he got into this argument with a dude called Yoxic, and there's a bunch to it, but just to summarize it, basically Yoxic said something negative about Chris. Chris's response was just publicly flaming him, and then he just pulled a full 180 and goes into his DMs and basically just apologizes and says it was all a joke, like he wasn't out for blood. And Yoxic responds by saying, "I wasn't joking, I do not fuck with you," which, can I just say, is possibly the best response he could have given. Bro gets a DM from a millionaire and still keeps his morals. What a G. Anyways, he posts a screenshot, Chris gets mad, and they get into a ratio battle, which I mean, like, come on, who do you think won? Anyways, Chris then responds with just this awful response of, he basically just sent a picture of a wire transfer for $1 million and said ratio this, which is just fucking brain dead. Anyone else, and this would be a good roast, but considering the fact that you are carried by Mr. Beast and that money was not earned by you in any way, shape, or form, is like picking up a cool stick and flexing it as if it was yours. Like, bro, you just got lucky. You're not the fucking tree. Mr. Beast has this man on a leash, pays every bill he has, and bro just goes on Twitter and completely tarnishes the Mr. Beast brand of being selfless by flexing $1 million that he didn't even make. That is honestly just bullshit behavior, and I think Mr. Beast ought to tighten that leash up a little bit. Moral of the story, don't get woke. There's like a 2% chance that you won't turn into a Twitter zombie. Also, one last thing before I go, Chris's ex-wife looks like this, and Twitter made him fumble. Like, come on, Twitter, get your shit together. Look at her. He would have lived happily ever after, but you and Carl had to go and fucking ruin it. Look what you did to my boy. It's diabolical. Anyways, sub to the channel or I'll have Carl hit you with a gayinator.